Right, okay guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. How the hell are you? I hope you're all doing well. Weather-wise, it's actually been a lot nicer. It's been really nice this week. Yeah, I've been out running. I was out on Tuesday, I was out on Thursday, and I'm planning to go out for quite a big run on Sunday. But again, delighted it's the weekend. Really settled into my job, starting to enjoy it. Mega busy, but I've been there 6 weeks now I think, and I'm gradually finding my feet and starting to kind of know what I'm actually doing, which is always really good. So anyway, yeah, listen, you've seen the title. Now if you follow me, the Mainmeister Facebook page, or you're on my Discord, the Mainmeister Discord, you'll have probably seen a kind of announcement. I don't like to say an announcement, that sounds really preposterous, it sounds really arrogant and big-headed. I've just basically made I've put something out there regarding my YouTube channel. Now, I've been doing YouTube since 2013, which is, if my mathematics are correct, I've been doing it for almost 8 years. And it's been fantastic. I mean, you know, it really has. It's given me this amazing outlet to do stuff, to try and be creative, to do things that I want to do. And the biggest kind of plus of the back of that, is having amazing people watching our videos, commenting, liking, thumbs up, whatever you want. And over the last, I would probably say, since I've started doing live streams, over the last probably 2 years, I think I'm starting to kind of get to know quite a few of you guys pretty well. I mean, I've only met a very small handful of you in real life, but I've kind of got to know you over the years on YouTube, and it's been absolutely fantastic. However, in the last I would probably say in the last couple of months, maybe even slightly more than that, if I'm being 100% honest, I've not been enjoying doing YouTube as much as I did. I can't really put my finger on what's changed. I mean, I'm certainly not playing as many games as I used to. I think, for me, I don't know, although technically I should have more time, I kind of feel like I don't have any more time. I don't have more time. And it's been over, probably, I would say certainly the last 6 months, it's kind of felt like a bit of a chore. And you know, a hobby should never ever be like that. You know, a hobby should be something that you want to do. And I've always maintained that the minute I stop kind of enjoying doing YouTube, I'm going to stop it. And I do kind of feel that point is now. But don't panic. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. I'm not closing my YouTube channel at all. I will be back when I want to come back. Now, saying that, I will still be putting out the occasional video. I think, you know what, I think I can kind of almost put my finger on what's kind of gone, not going to say gone wrong, what's happened here. I think since I've started doing live streams on a regular basis, you know, I do the Sunday live stream, and you know, I would get flogged alive if I didn't do the Sunday live stream. So obviously I'm expecting to get flogged alive this Sunday, because there won't be one. But the problem with doing live videos, or it's not so much live videos, but the problem with doing something on the same time every week, then people obviously get to expect it, which is fine, because that's why I do it at the same time every week. But the problem being is there are times where your real life just doesn't really fit around you trying to do videos. And certainly in the last probably couple of months, there's been times where I've had to kind of cut short what I'm doing in real life, changing my plans to make sure I'm back, you know, to do the Sunday live stream. I mean, I was doing it, I can't even remember what time. What time did I used to do it? Was it 7 till 9? I think it was 7 till 9. And then what I did was I changed it, I brought it an hour early. I brought it forward by an hour to basically give me more time after it to get myself ready for work, get my clothes ready, get a bath, etc. So yeah, that was kind of the start of real life, or that was the start of YouTube starting to kind of eat into my real life. And yeah, there's been a couple of times in just the last couple of weeks where I've, I mean, I think was it 2 weeks ago, I said I was going to, I wasn't, in fact I'm sure I said I wasn't even going to be doing a live stream, just because I had stuff on, and I ended up rushing about and literally getting in front of my PC 5 minutes before I was due to go live, and I ended up doing a live stream. I think it was a shorter one, but yeah, I've just found that YouTube now is starting to, I'm finding it very, very difficult to find the time to make videos. And again, if I'm honest, I'm really not feeling it just now. And I think I mean, in the 8 years that I've been making YouTube videos, I can't actually recall ever taking a break. Nah, I don't. And so I think to have 8 years solid is a lot. And if I'm being honest again, sorry for repeating myself, you know, certainly in the Friday Waffles, I'm now finding it very, very, very difficult to talk about stuff, because, not because I find it difficult to talk, I just find it difficult to actually come up with something that I've not already said, because more and more I find myself repeating myself. I'm telling the same stories, I'm coming out with the same anecdotes about how I got started and what was my first computer, and I kind of feel like I'm starting to sound like a broken record a wee bit. So yeah, I decided last week that I was, and again I says there's also my, I'm not going to go, you know, talking about it online, but there's a few things have happened in my life personally, and they're good things. You know, they're not bad things, they're good things. But that's just made me realise that, you know, I need to kind of free up time to concentrate on other aspects of my life at the moment. And that's what I'm going to do, because at the end of the day, YouTube does not pay my bills. I mean, I make pennies out of it. You know, if I was making loads of money, then you'd probably have to rethink. But YouTube's a hobby, and at the moment, the time is right now for me to take a break from it. But like I says, I will still put out the occasional video. I said, I think what I've found has led me to decide to take a break is because, I says, the live streams. I tie myself in to having to do things. I tie myself into having to get a Friday Waffle out. You know, even though I'm out on a Friday, I'll do it on the Thursday, and then the Sunday live stream, I've got to be home for 6 o'clock, and yeah, I want to. That doesn't really work at the moment. It certainly doesn't work at all. So, like I said, I will still put out the occasional video, because the great thing is I can sit in front of my computer for an hour and say, right, you know what, I'm going to record an Arcade Perfect my arse, but I can do it in my time. I can take 3-4 days to do it, and I have really, really missed making normal videos. I mean, live streams are great fun. They don't require any real brain power at all. It's just me in front of the computer, you generally taking the piss out of me. It's not creative. It's good fun, but it's not creative. You know, it's the same thing, and I don't know what you guys think. Even like the whole China miner thing. I mean, if I'm being perfectly blunt with you, I'm starting to get a wee bit tired of China miner. I'm not saying I'm going to retire him, because I know Holly's put a lot of work into getting a Mainmeister China miner, but I just feel like I'm in a bit of a rut with my channel. You know, I'm doing the Friday Waffle, I'm doing the Sunday live stream, and then I'm not really doing anything else in between. I might do the occasional live Arcade Perfect my arse, but I want to get back to kind of making videos the way I started. I mean, for the first probably, I've only been doing live streams for what, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. I want to get back to trying to be more creative and making videos I want to make, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy. So anyway, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the final batch of questions. This was from last week's Waffle, so just give me one little second. I wasn't going to put out this video, but then the reason for doing it is because I'm conscious that there are people that watch my channel that aren't on Facebook and they aren't on Discord, and I don't want these people to think, where the hell is he? Because when you've been making a Friday Waffle every week since 2013, people expect it, and if I don't make one, they're going to wonder where I am. So that's why I wanted to basically put this video out, just to kind of let these people make them aware of where I've kind of gone. So anyway, let's have a wee look. I was talking about Piracy last week. Now Sir Lance is saying, in terms of why there was little no protection on something like a Dreamcast game, it was pretty much because people were still on dial-up modems and the disc sizes were about 1 gig in size, which was just incomprehensible to download in addition to storage space. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there is apparently, excuse me, Xenia is a 360 emulator. Interesting, thanks very much Adam, I'm going to have a wee look for that. Right, Legsy, or Legsy I should say, is asking me, what are some of the rarest and most valuable games, consoles, peripherals you own? Games wise, I don't think I own any valuable games. I don't really go out and buy games. I've not bought, I mean, the only games I buy now are modern games. I've not bought a retro game for a long time. One game that I used to own and I sold it was a Vectrex game, and it was Protector. It was a limited edition. I think there was only 100 made, and about probably 10 years ago I decided to sell it because I was needing money, and I sold it for about 200 quid. Now they go for daft money, but yeah, I don't own that one anymore. So I mean, gaming wise, I don't know, probably the most expensive games that I own are going to be the Vectrex games. You know, they go for about 40 quid, but I really don't. I don't collect video games per se, and I don't love any that are sort of worth any kind of value. Consoles, peripherals. I would probably say the I mean, is it rare? I wouldn't say it's rare, but I mean, I own an Atari 800. I mean, I suppose if you're to say rare, you're talking about kind of, the most expensive. The Atari 800, I've got one of these. I call it the tank one because it's got solid metal in it. It weighs an absolute ton. It's a cracking machine. Got one of them, but I think probably the Vectrex. Now, I actually own 3 Vectrexes. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's why have you got 3? The reason being is I love the Vectrex to bits, and they are stupidly, but I was going to say unreliable. That's unfair to say it's unreliable, because how can you call a system that was made in, I don't know, 1979, I mean, how old is that? 80, 90, 2000, 2010. I mean, it's about 40 years old, so to say it's unreliable is really unfair. But when they do break, they're difficult to fix. So I always wanted to have a spare one, and then I managed to I bought a broken one about, I don't know, maybe about a year ago, and one of my friends has actually got it, he's actually fixed it, and I'm just waiting for him to send it back to me. So probably the Vectrex. Another thing that I've got, there's actually a couple of things. I've got the Virtua Boy, which you probably see at the start, or not in this video, but it's my intro of any other video I make. You'll see the Virtua Boy. Again, it was Nintendo's sort of foray into 3D. Now people criticise it, they say it's a terrible machine. You know what? I mean, I think it's a fantastic thing. It's a mechanical thing, and the 3D effect that it gives is actually really impressive when you consider it's all mechanical. So yeah, they're quite rare. I've got one of them. And the last thing, which is probably the rarest actually, and I'd kind of forgotten about it until I started talking, is the Pandora handheld. Now I have done, if you don't know what it is, just go to my channel, Meister Pandora. It was an open source, this was before Kickstarter became a thing, but basically a group of people came together and they thought, we are going to design the best ever handheld. Now this thing came out, I don't know, 15 years ago, And you know what? It runs PlayStation games. I mean, it runs all the standard Mega Drive, SNES, but it can also run PlayStation games. It's basically it's a mini PC. It's it's a kind of clamshell type thing. It's got the screen that folds over. The screen's touch screen. I mean, it's not touch screen as in like an iPad touch screen. You've got to kind of put a bit of force to kind of get it working. It's also got a full keyboard as well. It's you don't really get them coming up on eBay at all. Very, very. If you do, they're very, very. It's very rare. So I'd probably say that the Pandora handheld is my rarest thing. So anyway, Legsy, thank you very much. Peripheral wise, I don't think I've got anything that's really particularly rare. But anyway, great question. Mad Commodore, wasn't there meant to be a PlayStation years, bedrooms to billions after the Amiga years? I think you're right, Mad Commodore. I'm sure I heard that. Am I interested in watching it? Probably not. For some odd reason, I really don't have much of an affinity to the PlayStation, which is weird because I played it. I mean, I had a PlayStation for, I don't know, still got one, but I mean, that was the handheld, the console that I used for many, many years. But I don't know, even, these kind of more modern systems, I've just kind of, even stuff like the Xbox, I've not really got any nostalgia for them at all. But yeah, I'm sure there was, and I'm sure there will be. It's possibly down to the whole, I suppose the whole, COVID-19 thing. That's going to affect things because, these guys can't interview people when you've got the whole pandemic kicking about. But yeah, I'm sure there was. And sticking with Mad Commodore question, what is your favourite cinemaware game? For me, it would be It Came From the Desert. It's not action heavy like others, but there's an entire town in that game, so it is very rich and a complex game to explore and experience. It took up weeks of my time back then. You know what, I wouldn't say ashamed. Ashamed's, that's a bit of a strong term. I've actually never ever played It Came From the Desert. The same with I've never played, I did try to play is it Rocketeer or Rocket Man, which was another cinemaware game. There was a Sinbad game, then there was the Three Stooges. Was there one about gangsters? Was there something about I'm sure there was one about gangsters. It's just actually sprung to mind. I'm sure there was one about kind of Al Capone or something possibly. But I've never played any of these ones. The only cinemaware game I've played is Defender of the Crown, and I do love Defender of the Crown. I tried to play it fairly recently and I couldn't really get anywhere, but back in the day I loved it. Now, rather naively I should say, the version that I thought that I was playing for a long time, because I thought that's the one to play, and it turns out it's not, is the Commodore Amiga one. The Amiga one was the very first one to come out, I think, but then they brought it out for the Atari ST and the Commodore 64. Now the C64 one is apparently really, really good. It's meant to be a really credible kind of conversion, but yeah, if you're going to play it, I would say go for the Atari ST. It's got extra levels, it's got more graphics, there's more gameplay in it, and the sound is really, really good. So yeah, it would definitely be Defender of the Crown, but I will need to make a point. That could be an idea for a video for me to actually play some of the cinemaware games. So yeah, I'm going to give that a go. I'll certainly kick off with It Came From the Desert. That's the one with the giant ants. I remember seeing the screenshots of the game back in the day. So anyway, Mad Commodore, thank you very much. Excuse me. And next is David Bentley. I have questions. Number one, what was your first ever hard drive? How much was it and how much storage? I can tell you exactly the size of it. It was 540 meg. Yeah, 540 meg. Not a gig, meg. Now that would be, that came built in to my PC, my first PC, which was, it was a Pentium 60. Yeah, 540 meg hard drive. How much was it? I've no idea. It was probably a good couple £100, maybe more. I mean, the PC itself cost me I think it cost me about £1,500, something like that. So yeah, absolutely nuts. My favourite anecdote with the size of hard drives is I was looking at some magazines from like 1979, and there was like a computer getting advertised in 1979, and it had a 30 meg hard drive, and the hard drive was £3,000. Now if you work out what that is, that would be £100 per meg, £100 for a meg. Now you work out, you think, I've bought a 10 terabyte hard disk, and it cost me about 100 quid. Now a gig is 1,000 meg, and a terabyte is 1,000 gig. So you take £100 and multiply it by 1,000 times 1,000, it would come to something like £40 million. So yeah, a 10 terabyte drive back in 1979 would cost you about £40 million. On the flip side, if you take a 10 terabyte drive, divide it by how much you've paid for it, to pay for 1 meg, it would be, I don't know, 0.00001 pence. So that equivalent 30 meg drive back in 1979 would probably cost about 10 pence of today's money. Yeah, go and work it out. I'm not talking pish, honest. So yeah, that was my first ever hard drive, a 540. Number 2, Jack Tramiel, Clive Sinclair, Alan Sugar, Chris Curry in a fight. Who would win? I think there's no question it would be. I don't know. I think it would be between Jack Tramiel and Alan Sugar. I would probably go for Jack Tramiel because he looks like a right hard bastard. He really does, and I think he could take Cockney Alan Sugar. Clive Sinclair, yeah, he had a bit of a temper on him, but I think he would fold pretty easily. And Chris Curry looks like a bit of a nice bloke, so I think it would be Jack Tramiel because he just looks like a right hard bastard. Number 3, have you ever damaged a computer by dropping it by accident? I can quite honestly say I haven't, thankfully. Have I ever broken anything by dropping it? I probably have, but I'm actually quite a careful person. Anyway, David, thank you very, very much. Mr. Ian Hunter, hey Alan, a waffle question. If you could live inside a video game for a day, which game would you choose? Wow, that is a really good question. Blimey, I wouldn't want to live in like Manic Miner because that would just be so bizarre having all these giant creatures chasing you. I wouldn't want to live in like Grand Theft Auto. That would be too violent. I'm trying to think, what would it be? That's a really, really good question. Certainly wouldn't want to take part in any Call of Duties or any zombie flicks. What we're really looking for is God, Whizball, that would just blow your mind. But obviously want to go for a game that's set in a nice place, like any paradise place. Oh blimey, I'm trying to think. That is a really good question. Right, you know what? I'm going to try and come back. I'm going to try and think when I'm talking. Try and come back to it. The Oldie Gamer Steve, great waffle as usual. Commodore 64 Amiga games were £30. Easy question, pretty much anything by Microprose. Yeah, you're right Steve, Microprose did put out some awesome games. I wasn't really a fan of them, but they were all kind of flight simulator type. They were simulation games. They always had really good manuals and that as well. ZX Renew, a question for the waffle. Did you buy your pirate games at Ingliston Market or the Barras? Now I'm assuming ZX that you're Scottish, given you know what Ingliston Market and the Barras was. Now to any non-Scottish person, Ingliston Market was At the time, it was classed as the largest outdoor market in Europe. It was huge. I don't know what size it would be. It was a massive, massive outdoor market, just on the outskirts of Edinburgh, near to Edinburgh Airport. And yeah, I mean, you could buy everything from like a leather jacket, dog food. You know, they sold, I wouldn't say they sold knockoff, but they sold like cheap versions of designer labels. You know, I mean, you could get a leather jacket for like 40 quid, whatever. But then when computer games came along, it just became the pirate central. You know, virtually every stall sold pirate games, from the like the Commodore Amiga, then the PlayStation, the PC, and I'm sure if Ingleston Market was still there, they'd probably sell games now. To answer your question, in the Barras it's a market in Glasgow now. It's been there for, I don't know, 100 years. It's always had this really, it's had this reputation of being really kind of run down, and you know, the stuff that they sell is shit. You know, when you can get 10 pairs of sports socks for £1. Again, it was kind of like a more kind of deprived, that's the wrong word to say actually. It was like a Diet Coke version of Ingleston Market. You know, you could buy all this stuff. You could buy counterfeit tapes, music tapes, all that kind of stuff. And again, when computer games came along, it became an absolute hive for video games, for pirate video games. When I got my PlayStation, within a few weeks, I took it through to not Ingleston Market, I took it through to the Barras, and I think it was about 100 quid I got it chipped. Now about 6 months later you could get it chipped for £10, but yeah, it was a place where you went for kind of dodgy stuff, you know what I mean. But to answer your question, ZX, 99% of the time it was Ingleston Market, because it was 20 minutes away from the house. The Barras was further afield, so I didn't go to the Barras all that often. But yeah, if you wanted like 5 packs of cheese or a box of Kit Kats for £1, then the Barras was where you went, basically. Yeah, anyway, thanks for the question. Colin Jones, great waffle. Don't worry about the length, Fanar. It takes as long as I'll start again. Don't worry about the length. It takes as long or as short as it takes. I'll watch the lot. Yeah, I was talking about the sort of the lengthy waffles. Question for the next one: what are the most obscure, unusual, or mind-bogglingly offbeat games you have played and enjoyed? I mean, I've enjoyed Rarest, which is a well-known game. It's a kind of shoot 'em up, but it's kind of like a dance kind of game. It's like a rhythm type game as well. Don't go to sleep, bloody hell. I'm just trying to think of something really, really bizarre. I mean, I've got Tetris. That's not really bizarre. A game I used to really enjoy on the Spectrum was Formula 1 Simulator, or Formula 1 by CRL, and basically you took charge of a Formula 1 car, and you got to watch the highlights of it. It was like Football Manager but with F1 cars. And in a kind of similar vein, Kevin Toms, who wrote Football Manager, he brought out a game called Software Manager? Yeah, Software Manager, where you basically wrote a game. You didn't write a game. All you did was pick a name for it, and then you would choose like how much money you want to put in advertising, programming, all that kind of thing. So I quite enjoyed these. I'm just trying to think of any real off the wall games. Can't think of any. Again, but you know, if I was doing this properly, I should probably read the questions and then kind of come back with an answer. But I never do. I always just kind of answer it on the kind of the off the cuff, so to speak. I can't think of any other kind of oddbally type game. I mean, the Sentinel, which again is a well-known game. That was a good game by Jeff Crammond, I think it was. Played it on the C64. Confusion, which was a game by Addictive Game. No, it wasn't Addictive Games. Incentive, I think it was. Also had an absolute stonking Rob Hubbard Sid tune as well. Kind of wee puzzle game that kind of diffuse bombs. But yeah, I think probably the Sentinel. I can't think of any other game off the top of my head. No, I can't. But anyway, listen, Colin, thank you very much. And Mad Commodore, once again, unanswered question 2 from last week. After playing 500 plus 8-bit games a year since 2019, I've come to the conclusion that Rescue Fractalis on the Atari 800 is the most groundbreaking and original 1980s 8-bit game ever. Do you have a most groundbreaking 8-bit game in mind, something that you never thought could be done on an 8-bit? I absolutely love Rescue Fractalis. I wouldn't say it's the most groundbreaking original game. I mean, there's games like Trash Man, you know, some real kind of oddball games, but as far as being technically accomplished and impressive, yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, Rescue Fractalis. I think that is I still do play the game. There's a PC version came out which is really good, but I do love a bit of Rescue Fractalis or Behind Jaggy Lines. If you know it is Behind Jaggy Lines on the Atari, it means you are a naughty pirate, because they released a beta version. They didn't release a beta version. There was a pirate version was leaked before it actually, you know, went on, before it was published. Excuse me, and it was called Behind Jaggy Lines. But when they actually came to release the game, they called it Rescue Fractalis. So anyone that refers to it as Behind Jaggy Lines basically means that you must have had a pirate copy. But yeah, I would definitely agree with that one. I'm trying to think of any other games that is really mind-boggling. I mean, or original. I mean, not quite as visually wow, but I mean, Whizball on the C64 is an astonishing game. I mean, the graphics, the sound, just the way the whole thing's been put together. It's a beautiful game. You know, it's got some of the best music you'll ever hear. It came out for the Amiga, Atari ST as well, but it's always going to be the C64 one. Just trying to think of anything else that's really, really groundbreaking. I mean, again, it's a game that I don't like, but from a technical viewpoint, it is staggering, and that's Uridium. That is an amazing looking game. It really is. You know, it looks like an arcade game. It really does. And a game that I was talking about a few weeks ago, Drop Zone. I mean, people say, oh, it's Defender, but the point I was trying to make was Defender is such a polished looking game. It doesn't look like a Commodore 64 game. You know, it plays at 30 frames a second. I think Archer McLean said it plays at 60 frames a second on the Atari. But it's just, it's a game, and I loaded it. I really had to kind of do a double take and think, is that actually running on a Commodore 64? I mean, you think about how old the game is as well. To me, it's a staggeringly beautiful game. Technically, it's up there. You know, so yeah, I mean, I think you've probably picked the game that I would go for Mad Commodore. I would agree, Rescue Fractalis is an awesome one. And Holly Brereton, is that how you pronounce your name, Holly? Holly's asking, or she's not asking, I was talking about piracy, and I was asking about, is piracy still a thing? And Holly's basically said, main ROMs, you may have noticed some of the notices, usage of emulators in conjunction with ROMs you don't own is forbidden by copyright law, and that still stands. In practice these days, most manufacturers won't pursue a prosecution unless you're making money on their copyrighted material. However, downloading ROM images without paying for them is 100% piracy. Captain Halfbeard Al rides at 8-bit seas, it is peril. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Holly. I mean, every single. I think there's only, is it Robbie Roto or something? I think that's the only arcade ROM which was put out to public domain. Every other ROM is basically theft. I don't have a problem with it like most people because I'm not depriving anyone of any income. So yeah. So yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Polly. Ian Hunter again was asking, hey Alan, was that Archie snoring in the background on last week's Friday Waffle? It probably was. It probably was, Ian. Dale Boy, yep, piracy is still a thing. eBay and markets do have DVD copies of 3DS and Game Boy Advance ROMs, and PlayStation 3 games are cheap to burn to Blu-ray these days as blanks and burners are cheaper now. Yeah, you're probably right, Dale. I mean, I was asking, about does piracy still exist? But I don't think, although you can still buy pirate games, you're saying there, I don't think piracy is such a big thing as it was, because it's theoretically it's just not practical to down. Can you imagine downloading a PlayStation 4 game 60 gig? How would you burn that? Is there even a disc that like a consumer could buy to burn a 60 gig disc? I don't know. It's good. It's good that piracy has kind of died a death. I'm sure if we ever get to a point where the medium becomes pirateable, then it probably will kick off again. But yeah, anyway, thanks Dale. And the last question is from Milfy Swinbuckle. Have you ever bought a game based on a review that claimed the game was amazing, only later to realise that in playing the game the reviewer must have been slipped a few bob, as the game turned out to be total and utter shit? For example, I remember Rise of the Robots getting some big scores and rave reviews back in the day, and I was one of the silly sods who bought it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's urban legend. No, it's not urban legend, it's everybody knows about Rise of the Robots. I mean, back in the day, it was hyped beyond belief. I remember seeing screenshots in Edge and computer video games, and it just looked unbelievably staggering. It looked amazing. It was all this. It was kind of released on the back of CGI when Terminator 2 came out in the cinema. So yeah, it was like using ray trace graphics, and it looked amazing. Playing it now, I don't think it's not a good game. It's not a good game at all. But it's far from being the shittiest game ever. It's the same way people talk about E.T. and Atari 2600 as being the worst game ever. It's not. Atari E.T. is not a particularly good game. It's very frustrating, but it's far from being the worst game ever. And it's the same with Rise of the Robots. Yeah, it was hype beyond belief, and the hype simply the game did not live up to the hype. But have I ever bought a game and found out it was to be total utter shite? I honestly don't think I have. No, I mean, I was never really into like hype. When I was buying games, I mean, Zap magazine, that was the Bible for the C64 owners. They were they very, very rarely got it wrong. So Julian Rignall, Gary Liddon, Gary Penn said a game was good, and I bought it 9 times out of 10, or probably 10 times out of 10 the game was good. I tend to find that when you move to like the Amiga or whatever it was, the PC, then yeah, there was a lot more kind of promoting games and that kind of stuff. But I tended to kind of stick with certain reviewers. I mean, there's a guy called Stuart Campbell, fellow Scot, used to live not far from me, called The Reverend. He used to work for Amiga Power, and I always thought that he would say it as it was. You know what I mean? If he said a game was shit, the game was shit, and vice versa. If it was good, you were getting a good game. So I tended to kind of side with reviewers that I respected, so that if they said a game was good, I knew it would be good. But I can't think. I mean, there's plenty of games that I've bought over the years because of the hype. I mean, case in point, I don't even know the name of it. Is it Call of the Wild, the Zelda game that came out for the Switch? I bought that and I have played it probably for about an hour, and people say it's one of the best games ever written. Grand Theft Auto 5, people rave about it. Again, it's not a game I really play. So yeah, it's kind of more modern games, but I wouldn't say, oh, they're shit. I just kind of, I don't know, I just lose interest very, very quickly, don't have the patience for it. So, anyway, yeah, right, listen, I'm going to, the very last one, Mad Moments Go, Piracy is still going. Torrent sites like Pirate Bay and Extra Torrent, annoying sound in the background. I take it that must be the snoring. Anyway, yeah, listen, right. I'm going to get going. Like I said, guys, I'm going to take, I'll just see how it goes. I'm going to take a break away from sort of live streams, the Friday Waffle. It's not to say I won't put out the odd one now and again. And I will try, and I am going to try and put out some videos as and when I can be arsed. It means that I can make videos in my time, and I'm not governed by, oh, it's Friday night, I need to get this out, or it's Sunday night, I've got to do a live stream. So yeah, you know, the response on Facebook and Discord has been really positive. A lot of people I've never even heard of, that I never even knew watched my channel. They were very, very complimentary, and they said that they're going to miss me, but you know, you all support the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing, because which is great. Like I said, I will 100% be back at some point, but like I said, I will put out the odd video as and when. And listen, guys, I just want to say thank you very, very much for continuing to watch my channel. Please stick with me, and I will be back. Have a great weekend, and as always, guys, thank you very, very much for watching.